my story's a doozy.
Yeah. Well,
And this will be my first time telling it since I've been healed and not drinking. So like
yeah,
since I've been in recovery, I guess more or less, I guess.
that's awesome.
So yeah, this will
Yeah,
be
I feel
telling it.
honored just
Thank
when you
you.
text me that you've never. I started this to like have people like you come on and share where life has
Absolutely.
got them to this
Yeah.
point to in a way that helps others, and
Yeah.
just some of the stuff you were texting me,
Thank
it's
you. I
pretty
appreciate it.
crazy. I'm sorry you've gone through that, but
Thanks.
thank you for surviving. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, really, you could have chosen not to at times, and
Absolutely. And sometimes it was easier to want to give up.
yeah,
I had my days where, I wanted to just give up and
of
give
course.
everything away, and just who cares? It's hard when the first people in your life, your parents are supposed to show you love and safety, and you never got that. I never felt safe in my childhood. Thinking back now, even it echoed into my adulthood.
Hmm.
I was supposed to grow up with, boundaries and grow up with structure, and I raised myself, and I think I did a really great job. I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud that I chose to not let life jade
I
me.
love to hear that. I love, guy. I feel that from you, and
Absolutely.
that's so
Thank
cool.
you. Yeah.
Well, let's set the stage a bit. Like, where are you from, and what was it,
All
siblings,
right.
parents? What was your childhood environment like? And
Well,
oh, and what's your
originally,
name? Let's
oh,
start
hello.
there.
Hi, I'm Courtney Nicholson. I am 33 years old. I'm from Texas originally, but I've been a Californian for 15 years now. So love
Yeah.
it here. So it's been great. Um, Born and raised in Hobb, New Mexico. Not in the best of environments. My parents were addicted to drugs. And
Mm,
so my earliest memory is, you know, we were growing up, I think it was summertime, and we knocked on our parents' door because they would lock themselves in their room a lot. And
mm.
so we knocked on their door and told them we were hungry, and they screamed at us to go away. And so my brother, stepped into the fatherly role of making us food and walking us to school, making sure that, we were checking those boxes because we still needed that,
Yeah.
and school became a getaway, a place that I knew that I was going to have two secure meals, every day. And so I looked forward to it.
Wow.
And then we had to leave Hobb, New Mexico in the middle of the night because my dad had gotten into some trouble. And
How
we,
old is your brother? How much? How?
oh, he's several years older. I think he's
Okay.
40 now. So we don't talk
Okay.
much. All my family's in Texas. So I left Texas and moved out here by myself. And
Dang.
yeah, just wanted to give it the best go I had, and I knew that I couldn't do that in the circumstances that I grew up in.
Wow. So
So
then, if you remember that, you were somewhere between 4 and 6, so he was
yeah,
probably 10ish or something.
probably
And
10, yeah.
wow. And
So
I
it's a big
interrupted you,
role.
but
No, that's okay. It's
yeah.
a big role for a 10-year-old boy to step into.
And so you left then at what age and for what reason and how?
Oh, how did I leave my family? So I think I was 16, 17 at the time. And I'd been an angry kid given the circumstances that I grew up in, forge fire with fire, fight fire with fire. And I was just angry, and no one knew how to deal with that. No one asked me the trauma that I'd gone through. No one even cared to ask me what it was like growing up and why I was angry. No one checked in with me. And so I got into an argument with my aunt, and she slapped me, and she hit me regularly. And I just got tired of getting hit. So I punched her, and it ensued a large fight. And my grandma told me that I needed to get out of the house.
Hmm.
And my aunt told me that I could no longer live with her, and I had to take what I had on my back with me. And I had a Letterman jacket, a sports bra, and some shorts. And it was in the middle of winter in Texas.
Oh, wow.
So I left, and I remember my cousin telling me that it would be the biggest mistake of my life.
Hmm.
And to this day, I stand on it. It's the best decision I ever made for myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I jumped you a little bit.
No, that's
So
okay. I have a lot of story. It's
yeah.
very long. It's a
No,
lot. I
that's
feel like
what
I've
it's
lived
for.
10 lifetimes in one.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to um where did I when I interrupt? So
And
okay.
Hobbs, I
Okay,
think.
Hobbs. Yeah, New Mexico.
Yeah,
So
my
New
dad had gotten in
Mexico.
trouble. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's a good memory. Good for you.
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna turn the air down a bit.
No,
Continue.
you're good. So, my dad had gotten in trouble, so we had to pack up in the middle of the night. And my aunt and uncle said that, if they wanted to get clean and get off drugs, that, they had to come now. And so I remember packing everything up and leaving as much food as we possibly could for our 2 dogs in our backyard, and we left them there. And, I don't know if they made it or whatever came of our dogs, Babe and Baxter, but that signified that, like, to me, that signifies the lack of safety and the lack of care that was provided, because we were willing to leave animals behind that had no say, that couldn't, take care of themselves.
So your
And
parents were going to go to your aunt's to
yeah,
live
we were
there
going to Texas
because they had a drug problem, and
Yep.
then you came and then, oh wow.
Yeah, so we went down there and we stayed in a halfway house for a little bit, and my mom started to get really, really, really sick. And so she ended up going to the hospital and found out that she had colon cancer.
Mm.
And this is in 1999. And so I think I was 6 going on 7. And so fast forward a little bit, she was sick in and out of the hospital. And then they told us she had 6 months to live. And within 6 weeks, she had passed away. But during that time, I don't remember ever seeing my mom. I think I went to the hospital one time. And our home became a revolving door for women. My dad was seeing a lot of women
Oh.
trying to numb the pain, I guess, or fill that void that, was missing.
Yeah.
And I don't fault him for it. We're human. It was his first time being on Earth, first time dealing with the loss of his high school sweetheart. I don't blame him, but he spiraled, really, really spiraled. I think that, that is what kind of set the ticking time bomb on him waiting to take his life,
Is that how old was he when you moved to your aunt's?
I think he was 34, 35. So he was in his 30s because he took his life at 42. So it was shortly after. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, yeah. So, the revolving door of women and just not feeling like I ever mattered. He stopped raising us. He stopped stepping into that dad role. He stopped paying bills. He stopped feeding us. I remember saltine crackers and ranch were my breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the days that I didn't go to school. And I had to, I was 7 years old waking him up for work, because if he didn't go to work, the bills didn't get paid. And a lot of the times they didn't. We'd be sitting in a dark house, And so it was trying to navigate a broken home and broken people that were broken to begin with, and it was hard. It was really hard. I didn't understand that it wasn't healthy at the time. I just thought it was normal life. I thought that this is what life was supposed to be like. And so
That's good, at least, right? Like,
yeah,
you didn't know
I feel
how
like my
bad you
brain
had it.
shielded me. My brain did a really good job at shielding me and protecting me. Even
Yeah.
to this day, some things are still fuzzy, and some things I'm still working with my therapist to uncover, because the brain's so powerful.
For sure.
It really does block out some things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, fast forward a little bit, and we were living in Cross Plains in Texas in a really small house. We actually got 6 months free because the house was so dirty on the inside from previous tenants that we cleaned it up, and so we were able to live there for free. So that gave my dad a little bit of a cushion. But it just spiraled him further. He started drinking really, really heavily, and domestic violence in the home, and I was traded for drugs, and, he'd let men come into the house, and he wasn't watching them, what they were doing, so they were sneaking into my room at night as at a 7, 8, 9-year-old little girl, and so I associated those things with my dad, and that's what love was, and that was normal.
So you felt even that was normal at the
Yeah,
time.
I even felt that was normal, and I became the kid at school that wore dirty clothes, that it almost, the dirt became meshed into the fabric like it was a part of it, and I didn't think anything of it until kids started making fun of me. And I endured that for a little bit, and then my sister came to visit, and she saw that I was 58 pounds. I was so emaciated,
Wow.
so not taken care of, and
Older sister?
older sister. Yeah, I'm the
Okay.
baby of the family.
Okay.
So yeah, I think she was 29 when she came to visit, and she got me out of there.
And you were how old?
I was 8. Yeah, I was 8. Yeah. It's crazy how, thinking back, just that one single year of all that trauma, it just feels like it was so long. It feels like it was 4 or 5 years of trauma and just heartache and struggle. but it was literally just compiled into 1 year.
That's a
That's
lot.
kind
Like,
of insane.
it is and it isn't though, because when you're young, 1 year is so long. I mean, if you think about 7 years old, one of those years is what, I'm terrible at math, but like 15, 20%
Yeah,
of the time you've lived versus now 1 year is nothing. So that
absolutely.
was a lot of life to spend in that. That's,
Absolutely.
did you, I hate to even ask, did your dad know that that was
He
happening?
had a part of it. Yeah. And
Okay.
my grandpa had touched my father, and there was things that had gone on in the home previously to my existence.
Mm,
And when you don't correct those behaviors and you don't become self-aware, they kind of carry into and bleed into, your children's lives and
yeah.
generations after. And I think that that's what happened. He didn't have the tools to cope. He didn't have the tools to go to therapy. He was just trying merely to survive, and colon cancer came and took his partner away, and she was the one that was raising us. My mom was the one that was making our meals and making sure we were okay when she wasn't sick or when she wasn't doing drugs, and it was hard for him to pick up the pieces. So I
Yeah.
had to. And so when my sister took me away for that summer, that was the first time I felt like a kid my whole life. We went to
Mm,
Six Flags. She introduced me to cereal bars. That summer really stands with me. So, Heather, if
hmm.
you're listening, thank you for that.
Shout out. What was your favorite part of that summer?
My favorite part of that summer was not being scared, feeling
Mm,
safe. That was the first time I really felt safe.
sleep was different, I bet.
It was. It
Mm.
was very different. Yeah. I
You,
actually slept hard.
yeah. Yeah.
Instead of waking up at every sound, it was the first time in my entire childhood that I had a moment to breathe.
Mm,
And so when I went back to school, my sister had to find somewhere else to place me because she didn't want me to be with my dad. And so she put me with my great aunt, who was my mom's aunt at the time. She was fairly older, probably in her 50s, 60s. So she was raised differently. So
okay.
growing up in there, you get a hard-headed kid that's angry, that's
Uh-huh.
been raising herself, So you come into strict structure and
That's a
we're going to bump
problem.
heads all day
Yeah.
long. I'm sorry,
That makes
but
sense.
and I realized that if I wanted attention, I had to act out. I had to be bad.
Mm,
Chaos craves chaos.
mm,
And so I was looking for any kind of attention and I wasn't receiving it. People were just handing me off and I just felt like I didn't matter. And I wanted so badly to just someone save me, someone realize what was going on in life and help me figure this out. Because I knew that what was going on, I started to realize what was going on was not normal,
mm.
especially after that summer with my sister, feeling safe and then getting it robbed from me. It made me feel very angry. And so I would lie, I would steal, I'd hit kids, I would fight. And so my aunt didn't know how to deal with that at her age. She raised her kids, and, when you have a chance to start from the beginning, it's different when you can guide them through life versus, getting someone so broken that you don't know what to do with the pieces.
Yeah.
And so, I don't blame her, but she got rid of me and she sent me to my aunt or to my grandparents, and they were older. So that was probably the most stability I had in my early years because I lived with them from till I was 9 to 10. So yeah, they would get up, do my hair,
That's so crazy.
breakfast in
This
the
is all before
morning,
10.
all before 10. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So
Dude,
and
I don't know what it looks like on camera, but I just appreciate you. I
thank you.
appreciate the
It's
way
a
that
blessing to
you've
be here.
survived this and the way that you've assimilated this in your mind. There's no self-pity or victim. It's almost like you're telling someone else's story. And I have daughters that are the ages you're talking about, and I can't believe you went through that. Like I said, thank you
Thank
for
you.
surviving, and
It's a
I'm
blessing to be
honored
here,
to
and it's an honor to
have you
be here.
share.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay,
I
continue.
always try to
Sorry.
leave a trace of glitter in somebody's life. If I
Yeah.
can make it a little bit better, then I feel like I've done my part, and
Yeah.
that's good enough for me.
So grandparents at 10.
Yeah, about
Okay.
10. And so it was getting harder for them to take care of me. My grandma was obese, and so she had her own health issues. And, I'm sure they were struggling with the screw up that my dad was, having to realize that it's now bleeding into their grandchildren's lives. It's got to be hard to navigate, and you can talk to somebody till you're blue in the face and want them to do right and want them to wake up, but They've got to wake up when they want to.
And was your dad with you at your grandparents'?
He was not. He
Okay.
was still in Cross Plains.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't until shortly after Cross Plains and I went to go stay with my Aunt Kim, and she got full guardianship of me, that he went to go stay with my grandparents and realized that he couldn't do it by himself anymore. And my aunt, she's a wonderful person, but she just had her way or no way, her way or the highway. And it was, we bumped heads very much. So bless her soul. They did the best they could. They put me in extracurricular sports. I learned opera because of her, and I can sing in 3 different languages, which, that's an incredible skill to have.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm thankful for that. They let me be free at times, but they still watched who I was around. They were very protective. So I didn't get to go over to people's houses. I didn't get to go and have friends come over to my house. I was very, very sheltered.
Did they know some stuff that you had been through? Do you think that was an attempt to protect you?
Yeah, I think it was. But as a kid, I didn't understand it. And
Sure.
It made me mad because my cousins were allowed to go have friends and drive cars and, have boyfriends and all these things. And I wasn't allowed to.
I feel like I relate to your aunt, though. I think I might have done the same thing. Just, hey, lock her down, like for her own good. And,
I needed that, but I also needed tender and compassion, and I didn't get that.
You didn't get that either.
No, I was met with steel and iron, and a fist. And when you already have a scared child, it's I tell people this all the time: fists, hands.
Oh, by your aunt. That's right. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're still not safe, even with the
Never.
full guardianship.
No.
Damn it.
No, I know.
And that little glimpse with your sister, though. So now you know what safety feels like, at least.
And
right?
I keep searching for it in everyone, And so, let's see, fast forward till I'm about 15 years old. And we're in spring break, and my cousin Chase and I, we had a great relationship. We were very, very, very close. That kid, he saw me, and he saw me. Like, he made me feel seen and heard. He protected me a lot of the times from my aunt and got me out of trouble when there was no reason for me to be in trouble. That was
awesome.
my savior. That was my best friend. We were 2 years apart.
Yeah. That's so cool. And was this your aunt's son?
Yeah, her son, yeah. And
I'm
she
terrible with the cousin.
No, it's all good. It's okay.
Yeah.
So she had 3 children, Nicole, Faith, and Chase. Chase was the youngest, and he was closest to my age. We actually attended the same schools. So it was great. But it was spring break, and we were driving the ATVs, and we got back to my aunt's house, and my cousin Nicole was waiting for us, and she was like, something had happened to our nanny. We need to go now. I just remember sitting in the back seat with a tuna fish sandwich, and they're just turning around looking at me. We get to my grandparents' house, and I sprint out, trying to find my dad, and the house is empty, and it's quiet. And that's when I find out that my dad had taken his life in the garage at my grandparents' house. Yeah. And so the first thing out of my mouth, I'm trying not to get emotional because this one hits hard.
Course.
It just makes me want to hug every kid that's ever lost both their parents. The first thing out of my mouth was, I'm an orphan now. And that just breaks my heart for little me. It's so sad because even through all the trauma, I still wanted my parents. I still wanted my dad to wake up.
Yeah.
I still wanted him to be the dad that I longed for. And especially seeing the way that my aunt and uncle were with their kids, I knew that I deserved that and I wanted that. And it made me mad at my dad that he never gave me that. And so that just made me even more angry and even more hateful. I was hateful. Like, I looked for reasons to scare my aunt, not just like boo scare, but like emotional scaring. Like, I would cut myself. I attempted suicide one time. I actually got put in a facility, and it saved me. It made me realize that I don't want to be in there. And
like a 5150?
Yeah, no, 5250. It was a 14-day hold involuntary.
Okay.
And I didn't want that. I wanted my freedom, and I didn't want to be like my dad. I didn't want to leave people with those questions or that pain. The unanswered questions and just wondering why. And my parents were everything to me. And here I was, broken, had just found out the news that my dad had taken his life. And my aunt looks at me and says, it's all your fault.
Fuck.
And so then begins the self-hatred and just not caring. So I started looking for my dad in men. I'd sleep with anyone I could at 15 years old. And then that's what sparked the argument. Now I remember my aunt had found out that I was sleeping with a bunch of people, and she was embarrassed. She's like, "How dare you? You know what this has done to our family name?" And she slapped me, and then that became the tussle. I was just so tired of being shrunken and so tired of feeling invisible, except for when I did things bad. You know, I mattered. My emotions mattered. I was so confused and so conflicted, and no one even cared. No one ever asked me, you know? And that just, it made me mad. And so I left. And I couch surfed for a while, and my sister called me, the one's closest to my age, Chelsea, and she was like, "Well, you should think about going into legal prostitution." And I was like, "That even exists?" Like, I didn't know anything about it. So I applied and I got in, and
okay, sis, thank you for
yeah, thanks. I was like, cool, whatever, you know, it's more trauma, thanks.
Right.
So I don't blame her. You know, she was trying, no one could save me. I had to save myself. I had to do the inner work that people had poured in, like people had just basically dumped all this trauma onto me, you know, and I didn't ask for.
Her trying to help, like, hey,
that was
you're
her trying to
doing
help.
It
Yeah,
was.
because she knew that by me being on the streets, I was going to end up dying.
Yeah.
I would get into drugs. And
so you're going to do the same thing either way? Let's at least try to get it.
Let's get you out of it.
Okay.
So I went into the escorting world and did it completely sober. Completely sober.
And what age was that?
I turned 18 and I left. As soon as I hit 18, I was out of there. So I left my aunt. I got kicked out of my aunt's at 17, couch surfed for a year, graduated high school a year early, and then went into escorting. And that's where I got my marketing degree, my associate's in marketing. So I was able to do that all while still supporting myself.
Damn.
Yeah. But
that's impressive.
But I hadn't began the inner work yet.
Yeah, well, I bet.
So I was still attracting the same cycles. I was still going through the same mental issues and the mental turmoil, you know, and not understanding why. I was so angry.
Was it like, anger?
Anger, sadness, self-loathing, you know, putting myself in dangerous situations for no reason because I was looking for that thrill because I couldn't feel anything. I just felt so numb.
Like empty.
And empty. Yeah, I just felt empty. I felt empty. I felt like I didn't matter. I was just surviving. So I had to turn off the internal side of me and just get through it. And that's what I did. And when I left the ranch, I met this man that moved me out to California.
Sorry, this was this in Texas still?
No,
ranch?
This is in Nevada.
Nevada. Okay,
so,
that makes sense.
Yeah. No, not
is
in
that
Texas.
The only place that's legal? Nevada?
In Nevada, yeah.
Okay.
And so I went there. And when I left, I started dating this man. He's actually the one that got away. He offered me peace and gentleness, and all I craved was chaos. Because when you offer me peace and I'm in the middle of hurting, that's not fun. You know, I ran from that as fast as I could, and then I got into dancing. And that's when I met my first abusive relationship. I'm not going to say his name just because he's out here in California, so there's no point. So I met him, and that's when he coerced me into the illegal side of escorting. And that's when human trafficking started.
Dancing. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
I just want to place.
Absolutely. I think I was 21. Yeah, I was 21 when I first started dancing. Yeah.
And so that dude that you felt some peace with, how long was that relationship?
A year.
A year. And what age was he?
He was 36. He was much older than me, but he was raised by women. So he had that
So
softness.
he got, okay.
And I viewed it as weakness when in all reality, it was such strength. Such strength. You know, we're friends on Facebook to this day, and he's got a beautiful wife and beautiful family. And I couldn't be more happy for him.
Yeah.
But it reminds me to slow down, you know, and to appreciate those things.
There's been little angels along a couple
Always.
Here or there, so you've gotten to feel that peace. That's good to hear.
Absolutely.
Okay, so 21, started dancing.
Yeah.
And met
my first abusive ex-boyfriend. He got me into the illegal side of escorting. I guess he was basically my pimp. If you really want to say what it is, he was my pimp. So I met my first pimp at 21.
And what's the difference between illegal and legal?
So legal escorting is their safety measures. We get weekly tested, no play without protection.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole house of women waiting with heels. So if a man tries something, he's probably going to get something to the jugular.
Yeah, or the eyeball.
Nice good heel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't want to mess with us.
Okay.
Obviously it wasn't foolproof. There were issues there. There were drugs there, but I chose not to partake, and I chose to vet my clients very, very, very carefully. And so the illegal side, you never know who's coming through your door. Fake numbers, you get fake cash. There's no cashier to take your money and keep it for you. These men can come in your door with gunpoint and rob you. I've been raped. I've been robbed. I've witnessed some scary things. I've witnessed a girl get lit on fire because she fell asleep in the back of a car.
Wow.
By her pimp. Yeah. And my pimp, he was horrible. He wasn't as bad as all of the others, but he screwed me up. He broke me. He robbed me of all self-secureness and all hope. Yeah.
But
so
with verbal abuse?
He was verbal abusive. He was manipulative. He was a narcissist, just flat out narcissist, and possibly on the verge of being a psychopath because he had no remorse, no empathy.
That's scary that there's actually people out there like that.
Absolutely. It's
Joseph
terrifying.
was talking about that. He's had to deal with true sociopaths and psychopaths, and they do not relate to human emotion. And
none.
What do you even do with that? Like,
run.
Yeah.
Run.
Yeah.
Run or protect just have your guard up, because they're everywhere, and unfortunately you may come across them and you can't necessarily run all the time, and running from your problems isn't always good. So just, I've learned to recognize those behaviors.
I bet you're
I'm
really
great
quick
at reading
read.
people.
Yeah. And you did all that sober and
it was the best. I'm really proud of myself that I stayed sober. When I tell people that I was in the adult industry for almost 15 years, completely sober, they lose their minds. Like, I didn't start drinking until I left the escorting world. I did not become an alcoholic until I left.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then that is crazy. That's hard.
Wild life.
Yeah.
Wild.
Okay. So then you're what, like 22, 23 when you're with him and he's.
Yeah. We were together for almost 7 years.
Okay. So that is trafficking, or
that's trafficking.
Okay.
Yeah,
and sorry, I'm totally naive to
no,
this.
It's okay.
So you went from legal prostitution to
stripping, and then I couldn't afford to pay my bills, and he couldn't afford to pay his bills, so we had to come up with some way to make fast cash. He introduced me to the illegal side of like back pages, Craigslist, all those things where you would post illegally that I would have never had any clue to. And I remember one time because, you post an ad, you travel to city, and, you get a hotel room and you wait for callers and you negotiate your prices. You never talk explicit things, because that's incriminating.
Yeah.
But, you never know who would come through your door. And it would be really, really, really scary. I've been kicked out of hotels, and that's embarrassing. That's horrifying. Horrifying. To be publicly kicked out of a hotel. Security comes, hotel staff comes, they print out your ad.
Oh, dang.
And you're already just surviving. You're just, people don't do that because they want to. I'd hope not. If they do, more power to them. That's awesome.
Right?
Great. It's the oldest profession in the world, but it wasn't my choice. I had to live. I had to make a learning. I had to figure out how to survive. That's pretty much what my story was, surviving that far. And so I thought that we were in love, and I found out that he would leave for a long period of time. He would always be around my hotel, but he would take a while to come back to the hotel room. So I started to get a little bit curious as to what was going on. And I went through his phone one night when he was sleeping and found out that he was doing $50 car dates in a car that I had bought for us.
What's that mean? $50?
$50 car date. So he's paying $50 to have sex with a woman in his car, in our car.
Oh,
Also, that we would drive his son around in because he had a
okay.
child.
Okay.
So it was just,
That's a crazy.
I lost it. I lost my cool. I remember pouring hot tea on him in the middle of the night while he was sleeping. I literally just brewed it in the kettle and took the kettle over there and poured it all over him. And he left the hotel. We were in Bakersfield. We fought. But the area of Bakersfield we were in, it was normal. Like, you could literally hear girls screaming, people fighting.
Bakersfield's gnarly.
It is gnarly. But that was my main hub. That's where I stayed a lot of the time. That was where it was easy for him to drop me off. He could jet to LA and go see his ladies or his baby mama down in Sacramento. So it was an easy spot for him. And it was easy for me because of all the farmers, all the truckers coming through. It was just a hub right there. So it was,
So a lot of the time you were unsupervised doing this? Like,
yeah.
What about, and I'm naive to this, but
Yeah.
like, what about safety? I mean, do you have like a weapon or a gun, or you just have to?
I had a taser, but someone ripped the taser out of my hand and used it on me. And I woke up and my hotel room was completely empty.
Damn.
Yeah.
So there is no safety, really.
There's no safety. No. And it's not only just at the hotel room. You do out calls, and out calls is where you travel to the person, to the client. I've been in a home where a guy was doing a bunch of cocaine and was waving a gun around. You know, I had a guy made me give a gun a blowjob. You know, but out of fear for my life.
Yeah.
You know, and if I didn't do it, he would lose his shit. You know,
'Cause
I
now you
never
don't
want
have
him
to.
to hit me. I never wanted him to beat me.
We're gonna edit that name out, right?
Yes.
Okay. No. I just for your
Thank
sake,
you.
I just want to
Yeah.
remember.
It's not for
yeah.
my safety. It's just, I don't
Just
even,
because F him, you don't even want to give him the.
fuck him. Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
Excuse my language.
No, you
but
can. You be yourself.
screw
You
that
do.
man, for
Okay,
real.
cool. If it's
He
not
does
a
not
safety
deserve to
thing-
be a part of my story and his name. But I do want to tell the
okay.
things that he's done, you know?
Yeah.
Just like for my next ex, he's still in legal trouble for what he's done. So I have a lovely story. My picker was amazing.
Hey, you're surviving at this point. That's a whole different perspective to look at life and look at relationships and decisions. And there's not a lot of people that can relate to that. Like when you're looking at your life move, it's not what's best for my career. It's how the do I stay alive?
How do I
what I'm saying?
eat?
How do I eat? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
I certainly can't relate to that.
It's hard.
Did the tea kettle end the relationship?
No. Oh,
Okay.
no. No.
Okay.
I was his golden goose. He used to call me his walking ATM.
Okay.
So I made that man a lot of money. A lot of money. So much so that we opened 2 businesses together that failed
Wow.
miserably because of the toxicity of our relationship, of our friendship, of the relationship, I guess. Even though we weren't he thinks that we were in a relationship. I think that it is what it is. He was a pimp because he was taking my money. I was literally perusing through old text messages, getting ready for our interview, yesterday. And he would hound me to go to the bank. If I hadn't gone to the bank in every 3 hours, he was going to drive down there and take that money from me. I remember times that he would get me checked into my hotel, take all my money, and I'd be like, I need to eat. He'd be like, well, you'll make money. You'll be okay. So if I didn't get any calls because the area was bad or I posted too many times so people didn't want to see me, I didn't eat. Or I'd have to lower my prices and do things that I didn't want to do because I needed the money.
And this is sober still.
Sober, completely sober.
Damn.
Maybe on some marijuana. Maybe I smoked weed,
I
but
know, yeah.
no hard drugs, no alcohol,
Yeah.
not a bit, not one bit. Completely sober. And I viewed it as what it was, a business. It was doing, for me, it was because of the Bunny Ranch. It taught me that it was doing business in the most personal form. I was there to supply a service. I was there to understand why they were coming to see me without them having to say why they were coming to see me.
Okay.
Because men call girls or escorts because either they're in a relationship, they're not getting what they want, or they're too busy, so they don't have time to date. So it's just...
So it's a phone call first. You have to try to vibe them out. And
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, okay.
And then you have to try and guess if they're the police or not.
Damn it.
Which is so scary.
Yeah.
Thank God. Knock on wood.
You're right.
My whole time escorting, I not once got arrested. Not once citation. Nothing. Not a run-in with the police officers.
So there's
other than the
nothing
time
on-
that I got raped, I called the police.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was very fortunate because that's not the same story for a lot of the women.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So couple businesses that ends that relationship.
Yes.
And now you're still in Bakersfield, or
No, we moved to Sacramento. When we opened our first business, we got an apartment together.
okay.
And that was because he was taking full custody of his son. The mother of his child had a mental breakdown and just flew off and just went away. And she dropped him off at Sir's doorstep. We'll call him Sir.
Yeah.
At Sir's doorstep. And he was like, hey, I have this kid. I have to take care of my kid now. He's like, now you have to go to work double.
Oh.
He's like, now you have to supply for his school and his daycare and for me.
What does he do?
Nothing.
For money?
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's what a pimp does.
Mm.
A pimp sits there and enjoys all the glory and all the hard work of another woman and steals her life from her.
What did he do with his time? Just like
dated women,
oh,
saw
that's
prostitutes.
Right. Dang it. Yeah.
Took my hard-earning money and took it out of his son's mouth and took it out of took away from our future that we could have built. You know, we could have built a business that could have made us so much more money. We owned a delivery service, a weed delivery service before it got recreational.
Wow.
So
okay,
we could have, we had our foot in the door.
Around.
We won one of the monopolies for the recreational license. We just had to pay for it. We just had to pay for the licensing and the property because it had to be in a different zone because now it's recreational. So the zoning was different because we couldn't be in a residential area. We had to be in a business area. So he just pissed away all the money. And then fast forward and we open a reptile store and it's amazing. I love reptiles. Yes. Huge reptile enthusiast. Yes. I have a big chameleon on my thigh.
Okay.
I love reptiles.
I had iguanas growing up.
Oh,
my favorite animal is a snake. People make fun of me for that.
I love
it. I think they're magnificent. The way beautiful. They move and there's nothing like it. Graceful and
absolutely.
And it's going to sound weird to people that don't relate to reptiles, but if you really spend a lot of time with them, you can actually vibe them out. Like you can
learn their mannerisms.
You can.
Absolutely.
It's very hard to describe.
Yeah. It is. I've been around snakes that hiss. Like literally they'll blow their bodies up when they don't want to be touched. Animals will tell you quicker than people what they're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Quicker than people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no double-edged sword. They're not going to hide. Yeah, exactly.
No,
what you see is what you get. You know, if you get bit, that's your own fault.
Yep. So, you missed the triangle head that they do right before they give it.
Absolutely. Or you missed the coil. Yeah. So we opened the reptile store and that ensued so much drama. So we moved after we closed the delivery service because he ended up blowing $13,000 on a building and it wasn't in the proper zoning. So we missed out on recreational licensing. So we had to shut down. So lost that money. And I think I called one of my old clients and was like, hey, I need this much money. I'm trying to start this business. And he sent it to me. 0 questions asked. $75,000 straight to me.
Did you tell?
I did everything.
Okay.
I was loyal to a fault.
Is that like how did he do that to you? Is it like a brainwashing? Did he make you feel? Did you love him? Like
I loved him. Okay. I would have set the world on fire for that man. I would have robbed a bank for him.
Like what is that? I just wonder.
I longed for love, even if it was false. You know, false hopes. Even if he lied to me and fed me dreams all day, he was such a beautiful storyteller that I believed it.
Okay, so he probably saw those traits in you and
knew yeah, so it's all about predator and prey. I'm easy prey because I'm broken and I'm lost and I've never had structure. And he saw that. And he came in and and through all of this, I'm still sweet and still kind. I may have some walls up, but I still managed to keep my softness about me in my adulthood. And so when we got the reptile store, I got ready to leave him because he put me in jail. We got into a really big fight and he left the house and I had such severe PTSD from him screaming at me. And just one time he hit me so hard with a belt that I couldn't sit down and my legs were black and blue. So I couldn't work for a while. And he was so mad at me about that. So I had PTSD from that. And so like when he left, I would think I heard his car. I could hear him in the house and he wouldn't even be in the house. That's how bad it was. And so I went and got our neighbor and was like, hey, I'm having some really, really, really bad anxiety. Like my heart rate wouldn't go down to under 120 beats per minute. And so I had him come over and sit with me. And Anthony, here
this
comes
is
Anthony.
no activity, and your heart rate's that high.
Yeah, no activity. I'm literally sitting on the couch.
That's serious panic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my heart, it was so bad that I had consistently wear a heart monitor because my heart rate was consistently so high from him. So he comes busting through the door and sees our guy neighbor sitting on the couch with me. And we're sitting across from each other. And he screams at him, "You fucked her, blah, blah, blah." Like, just lost it. And literally goes and starts wailing on him.
Oh, wow.
And they're in a tussle, and somehow chest gets scratched. So I run to the neighbors, and I'm like, "Call the police. They're in there fighting." And I'm like, "I'm going to kill him." And so the police come, and the neighbor said that they weren't fighting. He was like, "We're not fighting," because I guess assumed they were probably going to go to jail for assault. Said that I was the one that scratched him. So because I didn't have any marks on me and he had the mark on him, I went to jail. And during that time, he had called one of his other ladies and had her come into the house. And they started taking my stuff out of the house and just stealing all my designer stuff that I had bought along the way that he allowed me to buy for doing a good job. So anytime that I made more than $10,000 in 2 days, he would take me to go buy something.
That's how much money was floating around, huh?
Wow. I've touched over at least $2 million in my lifetime.
Wow.
And let men piss it off. Like, I've watched men blow through it like it was nothing.
Wow. I didn't know there was that much money in that.
Yeah.
No wonder shit gets weird.
It gets very weird.
Okay. Did that end the relationship, the jail?
No.
Okay.
No, it didn't. But it sparked something in me that realized enough was enough. Okay. So I started looking into attorneys. I rented my own car. I started keeping my own money and stopped telling him when I was going on dates and when I was going to work.
I always wondered if women were doing that in those situations. And
I was pocketing money left and right. Okay. And I raised my prices to all of my regulars. I let them know, "Hey, I'm tripling my prices," and would give him the original price that he thought I was asking.
Hustler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then I called one of my clients and told him exactly what was going on. I was like, "Hey, I need your help." I was like, "I'm trying to get away from him." I was like, "But if I do this," I was like, "he's going to follow me." I was like, "He's going to kill me." I was like, "I'm afraid of what may happen." And so we started talking about me getting a restraining order on him. And I was like, "I don't want that." I was like, "I don't want to have to go to court and tell my story." I was like, I don't want that. I was like, "I'm embarrassed that I let this happen." And so he got mad at me and we kind of lost connect for a little bit because he was trying for me to find my voice. He so desperately wanted me to save myself. You know, that's the people that you can talk to them till you're blue in the face, but until you're ready to save yourself, you can't. And that's where I was at. I was working a full shift at the Reptile store and I'd come home being so rude to me and he made me cry and he was like, "If you love that Reptile store so much, I'm going to go in there and ruin everything that you worked hard for." And so he left and I immediately hopped in my car, my rental car, and flew down to Carmichael where a Reptile store was. And he had taken the huge metal door off the hinges. I'm at that time 90 pounds because I had been so stressed out and so stressed that I just stopped eating. I'd only eat out of necessity. My hunger cues were gone because my cortisol was so high. And so after he did that, I had to call the police and tell them what happened. And a police officer, this female officer, she sat with me and she was like, "You don't deserve this." She's like, "You are able to open a store." And she's like, "Why are you with this man?" She's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "There's resources out there." And that stuck with me. And so next day, I packed a bag and went to the Motel 6 and went to the Reptile store. And Sir pulled up and was honking on his horn, took his penis out of his pants and was shaking it in the window, like just doing everything he could to try to upset me. And I wasn't giving, I'd gone no contact at that point. I was done. I was done. I was tired. And he screamed at me, "All right, if you won't talk to me, I'll find a way for you to talk to me. I'm going to the court and putting a restraining order on you." And I was like, what the hell? And from the jail time, I was so traumatized by that. I was like, he's going to lie and I'm going to lose everything. So I called my attorney and was like, "Hey, what do I do?" And he's like, "You need to beat him to the courthouse now." So I drove to the Bear Center where they do women that have been in traumatizing domestic violence relationships. and they helped me do my restraining order case against him. And I got 3 graduate attorneys from UC Davis, and they helped me win my case against him to forever walk away from this man. Yeah, and I gained my freedom. He still tried to dig his claws into me by taking me to small claims court for the Reptile store, and I won that case because I had all the paperwork. I did all the groundwork for it, and I did all the financial supplying. It was literally off of my back, and so he lost that case, and so he tried to take me to court through small claims court for our home stuff because he said I was keeping him from his belongings. But when I tried to do a civil standby to go pick up my things, he had threatened suicide by cops, so the cops weren't going to go in there.
Wow.
It was just messy. He was it was like being entangled. It was like being lint tangled into Velcro, and he was the Velcro, and I was the lint. And I just wanted to get away.
Yeah. That's a accurate and brutal analogy.
It is. The harder I pulled, the more mess got tangled in.
It just got, It
was horrible.
Wow.
And so I finally got away from him, but my self-esteem was at an all-time low.
For sure.
I think I was 27.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And so 27.
And you're in Sacramento?
I'm in Sacramento,
okay.
Yeah. I start doing webcamming, and I'm enjoying it. I'm able to have my safety net of being in home because I was able to get him out of the house through court order. And I got my restraining order, protected order, full blown. He's not allowed to go near me, near the business. So I had to try to get him out of the business.
Webcamming. Okay, so now you're safe, and you don't need a pimp.
Yeah.
You don't even have to leave.
No.
Well, that's got to be the best option,
It was the best option for me at that time. And all during this, I tried to get regular jobs.
Yeah.
But because of the sheriff's, because you have to get a sheriff's card for the bunny ranch, and that goes on your record. So when I tried to get a job, they would see legal prostitution, and what business wants to hire someone that could potentially open them up to lawsuits? I was a walking liability. So I couldn't get a job, not even at McDonald's. I applied everywhere.
I didn't know that happened.
Everywhere.
So when you do legal prostitution, that's going to follow you.
It does.
Wow.
And people don't realize it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was like a legal thing, like you register as an escort or something.
You have to do a background check. They fingerprint you. They take your picture. And so you cannot have any violent crimes, and you cannot be a felon at all. So if you're a felon, you cannot work in the legal industry at all.
Wow.
I thought that was really interesting.
Well, webcamming it is.
Yep. So here we are.
Yeah.
So I bury myself into it, and I become financially secure. I'm able to pay my bills. I'm able to thrive, not only just survive. So I start going to therapy. I start doing DBT. I start doing EMDR, which is movement redirection. And that's for severe trauma patients. So now I'm starting to get these diagnoses that I have PTSD. And so I'm like, okay, I'm doing all this work on myself. I'm ready to try and start dating, actually really try to date. So I make a Tinder, and I match with Sir Number 2. And here comes somebody that is so narcissistic, he's almost perfect on the outside. I should have known that was a red flag.
How long after webcamming started
I was still webcamming.
I mean, how long had you been to where
I was webcamming for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was completely financially supporting myself, had bought my own car, was taking care of everything. I had gotten away from Sir Number 1 and all the things that entailed, so I was free.
Wow.
And for the first time in my life, I was on my own. And here we go.
All right.
So Sir Number 2 is a severe alcoholic, and that's where he roped me into the drinking. I'd only had maybe a glass of wine once in a while in my blue moons. I had never drank hard liquor, didn't like it, and he was a heavy drinker. He drank a bottle of tequila every night. Every night. The whole thing to his face by himself.
Damn.
He was by far the most abusive person I've ever been with. And you can combine all the abuse I've gone through, and it wouldn't amount to the things that man did to me.
Dang.
That man, it makes me shudder.
Yeah.
That man pushed me out of a moving vehicle I broke my elbow and my arm. He strangled me in front of his friends, and when I ran to hide behind his friends moved out of the way so he could get access to me.
Hmm.
That man locked me in a dog cage for 3 days and sat in the house with me and didn't go to work. And I every time I would try to reason with him, and I don't understand why. I just feel like, where is this going? Like, where in your mind do you see this playing out? And thank God I was able to reason with him where he would let me up. But I was so traumatized that I just stayed.
Yeah.
I just, I didn't know what to do. And so the first time he ever hit me, we were getting ready to go to sushi, and I was taking him to crew, and he came in drunk, and he was really pissed that the landscapers put the trash cans right in front of my front door. He came in screaming at me for no reason. And I was like, why are you trying to ruin a dinner? We're going to a fancy place. I was like, I've never been here before. I was really excited. He treated me so poorly that the waitress in crew would not serve him, but she would serve me.
Wow. What's Crew? Crew's a restaurant?
Crew sushi place, yeah,
Okay.
in Sacramento.
Okay.
An upscale sushi spot.
Okay.
And they didn't even serve him. The manager came over and checked on me. It was so bad. But he was so belligerently drunk, he didn't realize that he wasn't getting service. He was eating off my plate and just horrible. So we get back to his house, and I said, what you did tonight was unexcusable. And he just he hits me right in the face. It was before I could even react. I remember tussling in front of my doorway because I had, like, my front door had, like, this little porch. And I barely made it inside. And he had I have a permanent scar on my lip where he had put my teeth through my lip.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the first time. And I think that shocked me. But because of the love bombing afterwards, and I had never received that, I was in
What
that.
is love bombing? I've heard that from a previous guest.
Love bombing is, so it's almost like really high highs with really low lows. Like, I love you. It's like magical. It's like cupcake stage.
Okay,
like
so
the
extreme
beginning
euphoria.
Yeah,
basically.
it's basically euphoria.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing can go wrong. It's just you and me, and it's, you think that everything's going to be okay, and you believe that they'll never do it again. And then we got to his house the next day, and I had said something, and he was drinking. Anytime I said anything, he really had a problem with me smoking weed, and that fact that I didn't drink, because I hadn't drank yet. And he yelled at me in front of his friends that I wasn't drinking, so I grabbed a drink and started drinking. And I got blacked out drunk, and we fought so bad that I have flashbacks that he literally strangled me in front of his friends. And I had my Frenchie with me at the time. My Frenchie tried to protect me, and he grabbed my Frenchie and threw him against the wall. And his friends watched that, and they were literally protecting him and moving aside. They locked the front door to where I couldn't get out the front door. And I realized that I was way in over my head. And I was never going to get out of here. I was never going to get away from him. I solely believed that the only way I was going to leave this relationship was in a body bag.
How long were you with him at that point when you had that realization?
6 months.
Okay. So, wow, that got out of hand quick.
Absolutely. And there's numerous times that I'd called the police, and he'd weasel his way back in, and the DA would call and want to talk about the case, but he was sitting right there next to me, and I'd have to say I didn't want to press charges, and it turned me into the girl that cried wolf because of all the trauma. And the last and final straw, my best friend was at my house, and we were smoking weed, and I was in the middle of going no contact with Sir Number 2. And he showed up at the door and knocked on the door. And sometimes my old clients would come and, like, check on me or drop off gifts for me, even though I wasn't seeing clients anymore at that time. I had developed beautiful relationships with some of them and friendships. And I still am friends with some of them to this day. And they're going to be in my life probably for the remainder of it.
That's kind of cool.
It is really neat to have those beautiful friendships.
That's a positive side of that industry.
It really is. Yeah. And so, he knocked on the door, and he hit on the side of my door. And so I peeked out, and he grabbed my arm and yanked me. And I told my friend to go to the room because sometimes, they'll want to come inside, and I don't want them to see my friend. So he went into my room, And so he had no idea what was going on at this time. And sir number 2 is grabbing me and trying to like cover my mouth so I can't scream. And he's like closing my nose where I can't breathe. And I'm like biting his hand and trying to move my head and like just doing anything I could to where I could scream. And I was like, there's cameras right here by my house. Because I had cameras installed. Because if he ever showed up, I was going to get it on video. I was going to protect myself this time. And so he pushed me to where I was up against my garage and the cameras couldn't see me. And thank goodness my friend had gone into the garage to try to overhear what was going on. And he told me that he was going to kidnap me and kill me. If he couldn't have me, no one could. And that's when my friend came out, and he's a big, strong guy, and he's done boxing before. He knows how to fight, and he knocked sir number 1 out and sat on him until the police came, and that started the police finally believing me, and that started the cases opening up and let's revisit these now, because it was basically coercion. He was coercing me to not testify against him, and that opened a whole other case for him. And I was finally able to get away from him. And that's when I realized that I was so broken. I had no self-respect. I had no love. I was scared of everybody. And so I started to really do the work. I started to look into why I was attracting these people.
How long were you with him total?
I was with him for a year. So that relationship lasted for about a year. And
dang, that's a long time to live in that state.
It was.
Okay, so then you got out of that and you started counseling, or
yeah, I started severe counseling.
How did you end up there? Did somebody suggest it? Did you
No,
just think about it?
I could not live like this anymore. I was afraid to leave my door. It was so bad because the fact that he said he was going to kidnap me and kill me, I was so scared to leave my house.
I
became a recluse.
Out?
No, he was in prison, but still
for
he
what
had
happened with you?
Absolutely. But he knew other people. He was a sketchy person from the Bay Area, so he knew a lot of sketchy people.
What did he do for work?
He was a marketing and sales, unfortunately. Okay. So that's why, but that's how we were able, that's what we struck up a conversation over, was because I had my degree in marketing.
So he could present himself very normal.
Very normal.
Gosh, that's scary.
And that's why I had said that on the outside, he looked perfect.
Yeah.
To the outside looking in, he looked like an angel, like total family man, perfect man. But behind closed doors, he was a horrible person.
Is he still locked up now?
I believe so.
Okay. When's the last time you talked to him?
2021.
Oh, okay. Long time then.
Yeah.
Good. For women that are like where you were in that moment, I'm trying to figure out what was the mindset that maybe women could recognize where, hey, I'm going to do something and get help. And if they're feeling
I had to break the cycle.
Okay.
The men I dated reminded me so much of my father, with the abuse, with the domestic violence that I had seen in the house, growing up. And I saw myself continuing down a road I didn't want to go down. And I knew that I had to save myself. I had to. No one was coming to save me. No one was going to throw on a cape and save me. It was up to me to do the saving. And me to realize that I had patterns, that I'm in control of my life. I had the pen. I had the paper. It was time I started rewriting the narrative.
Was that hard to look at yourself and be like, dang, I'm going to keep doing this over and over? Like,
oh, yeah. Accountability sucks.
Yeah.
Accountability sucks. It hurts.
It does hurt.
Ego and pride want to be the loudest,
Introspection's
absolutely.
Painful.
It sucks.
And so you must have been 28, 9?
28, 29, yeah.
Okay. And so you started doing counseling, EMDR.
And I went to therapy groups with abused women. I started heavily drinking and trying to numb myself through that. And so I thought that I had a handle on it. I was like, oh, I'm fine. And here comes the DUI. Here comes wrecking a brand new Lexus. And then I realized that I was going to continue the cycle. I needed to leave Sacramento as a whole. I didn't need access to town. I didn't need access to the people that I had known. So I moved up to Placerville.
And were you still webcamming at this point to pay your bills?
No. So I opened up a hair salon with the lady that had been doing my hair this entire time. So I
Okay.
met my hair lady. Her name's Lisa. I love her
Okay.
so much. I met her while I was at the bunny ranch, and throughout all of this, we stayed in contact. We kept an amazing relationship. I tried to hide what was going on from her,
Oh, okay.
but she knew. But
what is she going to do?
there's nothing you can do. There's not, you can either choose to love someone through what they're going through and be there for them if they come out on the other side, or you can do the exact opposite and drop them, and she saw that I was struggling and that I had no one, and she wanted to be there for me. That's sometimes that's all we need to spark that self-love, is to see that we are capable of being loved. And that's what that did that for me.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. And so after I moved to Placerville, I realized that I did have a severe drinking problem and that I was going to drink myself to death. I was going to die if I did not stop drinking. So one day I put down the bottle and I called up a gym. I was like, I've never been in a gym except for in high school. I have no idea what I'm doing. Can I come and take a little peek of the facility?
To exercise?
Absolutely, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
And so instead of numbing myself, instead of picking up a bottle, it became weights on my back. It became dumbbells. It became the elliptical. It became hitting many PRs throughout the week and celebrating those.
Yeah.
And it became small wins, and I started to see strength and resilience. And with
self-accomplishment, self-worth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I turned my pain into triumph and strength, physical strength. And so through that, I've been able to find coping tools, and along with therapy and along with my psychiatrist, to find coping tools and to find things that work for me and to help me unpack all the trauma and things. I'm not done. The work will never be done. There's a lot of story. There's a lot of history here.
Yeah.
And so the work will always be continuing, and that's okay. That's the beauty of it. If a flower can go through concrete, I can grow through anything.
That's interesting. You said little PRs throughout the week. So that's actually probably more profound. I'm sure but
yeah,
that's a pretty profound thing that maybe women can hang on to. Like, hey, if you go to the gym or if you try something and give a tiny goal that you can hit, every time you hit it, you're building your self-worth. Even if it's just 100 steps today, it doesn't matter how small.
Just
you're creating
walking into
new
the gym.
Yeah.
That was my PR for the first week of going to the gym. I felt so goofy.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to get through the motions and showing up every day and seeing that people were applauding me for showing up, and creating that community. And through that, I found my love and for myself and for the gym, and it saved me. The gym showed me that grit and accountability and discipline and resilience it can be within us. We just have to find it. You can either, one of my favorite sayings is, you have two dogs in your brain. You have the good one and you have the bad one. It depends on which one you feed is going to get bigger. So I chose to feed the happy side of myself and the side that wanted to understand why I went through these things, because there's a lesson to be learned in everything. And if we can take away something that's learned from each situation that we're in, it's not a fail. To me. To me, life is all about learning. There's no big grand gesture at the end of our lives. It's all about, what did we learn about ourselves? What did we learn to treat others with compassion and empathy? What can we do to make each other's lives a little bit better and a little less hard? Because there's no handbook on how to live this life.
No.
No one gave us a handbook. So we're just all trying to make it the best we can. But if we can make it a little bit easier on ourselves and on each other and make someone else's day a little bit brighter, because the world's it's heavy out here, then I feel like we're doing a good job. And it makes it all worth it for me. If I can make someone feel not alone with my story, then I feel like everything I've been through makes it worth it. Did I deserve it? No. But
I'm glad to hear you say that.
I came out on the other side incredible. And I love who I am. And I'm so proud of myself. And I think that my parents would be proud of me.
I'm trying, man.
Don't cry. No, you're going to make me cry if you cry.
Okay. I think they would too. What is life? How long have you been on this road with the fitness and the self-love? And how long have you been?
A year and a half now.
Okay. Yeah. And what does life look like? Do you have love interest? Are you?
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm my biggest love interest right now. I've got a lot of work to do before I can open up and be ready for that. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
That's totally okay.
Honestly, I love my life right now. I'm my biggest romantic, I'm my biggest investment right now. And we are our biggest investment. So right now, no love interest, just
Yeah. And so
enjoying
you're for
life.
work, you're doing hair? Is that
No, so I do book work for the
okay?
hair, and I do some trading in stocks here and there. But
Yeah.
right now I'm probably gonna get into death doula work. I wanna.
What's that?
So death doula work is the people that are dying to make it more comforting for them, not necessarily through pain, but understanding and being there for them, helping them with the funeral arrangements, and then sticking around for the family afterwards.
Wow.
To just be there and be
That would
present.
be something that you would not
I
only
think death
pick,
is
but have the
beautiful. I
stomach
think
for it too.
absolutely. And
Wow.
there's
So
all
you're
kinds of
all
things.
above, not that legal prostitution is legal, but
No,
you
I've
don't
walked
do
away
any of
from
that.
No, it was a stepping stone.
Damn.
And that's what it should be. It should be a stepping stone. And
Hmm.
I learned a lot about myself. I learned how to protect myself. I learned how to read people,
Mhm.
and that's something that you can't be taught.
No, it's not. You're so young too.
Thank
Just
you.
getting rolling.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for
So,
you. What are you most excited about for your life and yourself? And
let's see how many people I can help.
mm,
I'm ready to finally start telling my story.
mm,
I'm finally not ashamed of what I've been through because I realized that it was all out of not all of it, but a lot of it was out of my control. And so I carried a lot of shame and a lot of guilt for what I went through as a child and early adulthood and even most of my adulthood.
yeah,
It was shameful. You don't want to be proud of those things, but it made me who I am today. So by golly, I'm so proud.
that's gonna be awesome for women to hear that are stuck in that
Absolutely.
lifestyle.
Yeah. And I'm
I,
starting a podcast.
oh,
I'm
nice.
working on a podcast called I'm Not Okay.
Okay.
And it's about people sharing their stories that feel like they've been alone. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have a chair pulled up to the table for mental health. People want to talk about mental health until it becomes too much. And that's why my story has never been fully told, because when I go so deep into it, it becomes too much for other people.
To hear?
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You can't fathom. I went through the
No,
unthinkable.
yeah. And yeah, I could see how that would be hard for people.
Absolutely. So I'm still fighting, and
Yeah.
yeah, it can't take me down.
Yeah. That's so sick.
Yeah.
What do you think women that are listening that are stuck under a pimp or stuck in the sex industry or stuck in some place that they don't want to be and they don't know the first step towards, I guess, self-love is what would cause the change, right? Like,
Yeah.
or what kind of message of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
What message would I say? Let me say. Give me a second.
Yeah. Take your time.
I would say just because you feel stuck and just because you feel like people don't care and that you don't matter, you do matter. And people do care, and there are resources out there that you can get away and that you can get the help that you need. There are places to go. And I'm starting my business to help people, and so
How do people reach you?
Through my Instagram. I'm also I have a Facebook page with I'm Not Okay. So absolutely. And
All right.
yeah.
So if women are stuck and they don't know what to do at all, maybe they
reach
can
out.
Yeah.
There's resources out there. And if you don't know what to do,
Contact
the biggest
Courtney.
step the biggest step is really just saying enough is enough. It's really what it is. It's really realizing that to get out of those scenarios, you have to be ready. And you have to be willing to do the work. And it's not going to be easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you.
Thanks,
I'm
Trevor.
proud
I
of you.
appreciate that.
I'm honored that you shared this today. And
thank you so much.
the
I
people
appreciate
that
it.
need to hear this are going to hear it.
Absolutely.
And we'll definitely remove that guy's name. He is
Thank
not.
you so much.
He is not going to be. His name will not be shared. Where do you know Joseph? Where does he come into the picture here?
So I started at Lifetime. And
Okay.
I went through.
For people that don't know, Joseph's a previous guest. He's been on twice. Incredible story.
Amazing
much
human.
like this.
Amazing
Stuff
human.
that you would sit down and hear eye to eye, and you're not going to believe, just like this story.
He hasn't batted an eye at anything I've told him.
Yeah.
He's literally like, Nothing you say will surprise me.
Yeah.
So
He's the best for that.
He's amazing.
You just know you can.
An
you can be
incredible
yourself.
human,
You
and
know?
it's such an honor and a blessing to have him in my life. And
Yeah, I
to
feel
call
the
him a
same way.
friend. It's what an amazing person. So the way him and I came to meet was I was working out at Lifetime, and I had just finished my second bodybuilding competition. I'm 2-time nationally qualified.
Oh, wow.
And I just kind of felt like I had hit a wall with my training. My trainer was getting ready to go on maternity leave, and I hadn't found a replacement that I felt comfortable with. And my bodywork guy had mentioned that I go, check out Joseph. And so I messaged him on Instagram and was like, hey, I'm looking for a trainer. I'm kind of looking for a new gym because I feel like the corporate gym isn't really kind of fitting my setting. And he said, come on in. And so that day I met him. I was like, hey, I would like to start training with you.
There's something different here with this guy. Yeah,
absolutely.
Dude, that's awesome.
And it was second best decision I've ever made was meeting Joseph and choosing him as a trainer and
really
as a coach.
Cool person. There's a. How do you? I didn't even ask. Like, what about spirituality for you?
I'm very spiritual. Religious sometimes.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you believe in God?
I believe he's out there. Yeah. Do I believe in the sanctity of the church or the church? No, I don't believe that church. I think that you could be a Christian and praise God anywhere. But I believe that for me to have come out on the other side and survived all that I have, there's somebody up there. There's somebody up there watching out for me. I have to believe it.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
You think he's got good plans for your pain to help
Absolutely.
others?
Yeah.
I do too.
Absolutely. I came out on the other side, so there's a reason for this. God gives his biggest battles to his strongest soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
He never gives us more than we can handle. And there's been times where I was questioning why me? And there's a reason for it.
Yeah. Why do you think all of that?
Because pain transforms people. I needed to go through those things because I think I would have been a spoiled kid. I think not spoiled in a sense, but I think I would have been jaded. And I don't know. I honestly don't know why he chose me. Just
okay.
To be put out there, to be a beacon of light in a dark world. I think that's why he chose me. We all have those beacons. We all have people that have been through the unimaginable, and it's what you do with that.
Agreed. If you survive it at all. Like I said, I'm glad that you survived.
Thank you. I'm glad I survived too. Not only survived, but I'm thriving.
Yeah. And you love yourself and you have high self-worth. I feel it in this room. It's so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Anything else you want to say or share or lesson leave with the audience or
lesson to leave with the audience?
Or just anything you want to say?
The only way out is through. Keep pushing. Never give up on yourself. You are your strongest investment. Believe in yourself and love yourself. No one can love you more than you love yourself. And believe that. So.
I love that.
All right. Well, thank you, Trevor. I appreciate it. This
joining.
has been incredible.
Yeah,
this was a lot easier than I thought it was.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was super nervous.
Oh, you didn't.
I just get anxious all the time.
It's
a big story to tell.
It's a big story. It's the first time you've shared it.
I have shared my story before, but I was when I was under the influence of alcohol, and so this is through a different lens. This is through a new Courtney. This is through actual real self-love and through
told with an intent to heal.
Absolutely,
too,
yeah,
Give
with intentions.
Hope
absolutely, that was so beautiful what you just said.
That's what these are called, stories of healing.
Absolutely, yeah.